Hey, girl.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm very excited for this episode 1.
Oh my goodness.
I totally thought you were going to say me too.
I did. I was like, oh my, that really excited me. First episode?
Yeah, first episode.
So-
I know, and it's a really, really good one for the is it called inaugural? Like inaugural episode. Isn't that first?
Is that it?
I don't know. It sounds right, but I'm going to be totally roasted.
Well,
for
because
that
the
being
preamble
incorrect.
was the last episode we just filmed.
Yeah, we did. Recorded, I think would probably be smart.
True.
If you're not catching this, there is a video podcast version on the YouTube, or also there's a podcast version if you're watching the video and you want to listen to it while you're in the car.
Yeah, they're like, is this a historical podcast?
It is inaugural. The inaugural ball. I feel like if it's like I think that is first. Okay. Regardless. Welcome to Photographers Unveiled. I'm Ashley B.
And I'm Ashley K.
And we're really happy that you're here.
Yeah, we're so pumped.
I know, I'm really, really
It's
really
coursing through your
excited.
veins now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Because it's happening.
Yeah.
Today we are going to talk about how to do better than your competition.
Yes.
To be real.
Mm-hmm.
To be totally real. And why you need to get out of that dang comfort zone. Because people flub up. Why I love the word flub today.
That's true.
People flub up.
Yeah. They
And so you can use those flubs to your advantage. And we're going to tell you how to find those flubs.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes. Let's
Unveil it. Ooh, that's like a little sizzle moment.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
I am too. This is a good episode.
It really is. It's a fun one. We're going to recall a lot of things and basically give you real life stories, and you can learn from them, and then also open your ears and pay attention.
Yes, that's the key.
So let's go.
Okay.
The number one thing to remember on this whole podcast, everything that it's about, every Monday when you tune in and listen, is that people remember the way that you make them feel.
Yep.
So listen up. What do you want to start with?
Let's start.
Maybe the first time something happened to us that we were super impacted.
Yeah. You would say it's the damn
Party bus. So for those of you who don't know what a party bus is a massive bus. We all know what a bus is.
Mm-hmm.
And it has basically been created for dancing and partying in mind. So we're in the Midwest, and party buses are very big here. I have seen in threads other areas don't have them, which blows my mind. But also if I picture of course New York City wouldn't have them because why? How?
Mm-hmm.
Traffic. But we don't really have that here. In particular where we live, it's a very easy to navigate city. There's a million ways to get somewhere.
Yeah.
It's super easy. If there is traffic, ditch it. It's great. But party bus. So weddings will get party buses in between the ceremony and the reception. And what that does is allows them to go balls to the wall, get drunk, have a good time, enjoy time with their wedding party, while all traveling together and not having to get a bunch of Ubers, not having to drive their own cars. It makes things easier. I mean, essentially think a limousine, but you stand and there's stripper poles.
Yeah. And you get to spend some serious quality time with your wedding party.
For real. And so prior to this story, this event that happened, how often would you say that you got on the party bus?
I would say 50% of the time.
I would agree with that.
I'd be like, okay, that wedding party seems super lame. I don't want to get on that bus. Or I'd say the complete opposite. That party bus is going to be so freaking wild. I'm not going to get a seat. I'm going to be having to dance on the stripper pole for people. No, I would never, but sometimes they're a little too wild. But regardless of how wild or not, now I get on them 100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Yep.
Even if you end up, I can see a couple scenarios where maybe it wouldn't occur. If there's absolutely no way that you can get to your car because we're out of town and maybe an Uber isn't an option. There's
and in that case, I'll jump on the bus at the arrival when they arrive to the reception. I'll be like, hey guys, let's get a couple party pics.
Yeah. And it's a very small scenario, but there are times that you're stranded at your venue and you're like, hey, husband, you got to come take me to my car.
Yeah.
Or like, second shooter, is this on the way home? Like,
Yeah.
random scenarios. But there was a situation that I don't know if we were on a bus or getting on a bus. I think we were on the bus. And this bridesmaid is like, oh goodness.
You got a burp?
Yeah. I think it's going to pass. Okay.
That's going to be your thing.
That's going to be my thing. So I am on the bus. I don't even know if Ashley was at this wedding or if it was just me, but a bridesmaid tells me, like, happily, because I'm on the bus, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're on this bus. My photographer did not get on my bus, and it made me so upset. It still frustrates me to this day.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, really? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh shit, we don't always get on the party bus.
Yeah.
Like, now I feel like an a-hole. Yeah, this was a long time
Yeah.
ago. It's been years.
Yeah.
But I was like, I feel like a total a-hole for not getting on the bus, because if she's thinking it, 5 million other people are thinking it.
Surely.
And so then I get home and I'm like, I traumatize Ashley all the time with like, you will never believe what I just hear. And she's like, this is the worst news I've ever heard in my entire life. You're telling me I have to get on that bus every time. And
That's
I'm like,
basically what our listeners are thinking.
Yeah.
With our news.
Yeah. So much tough love. Get on the bus.
Yep.
They like, they're so excited about it. And it's not that they're excited about the bus so much as they're like, this is their quote unquote night out, right? Because when you're at the reception, you're kind of like putting on this show. There's a million other people there, but the bus is your tiny, tiny, close-knit group of people.
Yep.
And they're excited for it.
Heck yeah.
And so stepping out of your comfort zone, getting on the bus, dealing with it.
Heck yeah.
Is a service for them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you might have to sit on the cooler.
Yeah. Or play Thunderstruck. That's me. Remember that one time I got off the bus and you were like, what's been happening? I was like, I had to chug 2 beers in under a minute.
Yeah.
And they were cold.
That's Ashley's party trick, by the way.
Yeah.
She can chug a beer in no time flat.
No time.
Also, we personally have a controversial opinion that we don't believe in drinking at weddings.
Yes.
Besides the very rare circumstance that A, it makes sense for that couple.
Yep.
B, you can tolerate a beer.
Yeah.
And C, they're like insisting.
Yes.
Normally, I say no.
Dude, I think we got so many referrals off of me chugging beers.
It's
Seriously, some guy messaged us and was like, dude, you guys are amazing.
Your beer chugging abilities it's quite impressive.
Thanks, girl.
You're welcome. But normally you say no.
Yep.
And then if they ask again and they insist and you're like, this is going to mean a lot to them.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like you could.
Yep.
Right. But
yeah.
like at the reception, you're not walking around with a beer.
I was thinking the party bus is literally to party and that's it. Everybody's doing it.
Yep.
At the reception, you have parents, grandparents.
Everybody's watching you.
Yes. Gross.
Yeah. So I think that super depends, but I would be, again, controversial and personal opinion. And this is based on our brand of like
serving.
Yeah. So
don't give us the ick.
Yeah. It's just our personal opinion. That's the way that we navigate drinking at weddings.
Yep.
Is generally speaking, no.
Yes.
Anyways, side tangent as we talk about you chugging 2 beers. Can we talk about this really quick?
This is cute. This is a cute story. You talked about the party bus and that was a bridesmaid, right? Okay, let's talk about how bridesmaids just say everything on their minds.
They say everything on their minds.
Literally.
So like open your ears and listen to them because how many other things have they told us without realizing it? I'm learning from that mistake.
Yes. And bridesmaids just like at every wedding, there's like something that the bridesmaids say every time. Like listen to like what you hear all the time. Ashley, you made a good point yesterday in brainstorming that robe photos don't make sense outside.
Yes.
Like a bridesmaid just kind of was like.
Said that in passing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why are we going outside?
Yeah. Yeah. Listen for those things. And if you see that there's better light outside and you're like, I think these photos are going to look better than what they want, which is usually a bed photo, a cute little photo on the bed, I would say do both. What do you say?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Especially if you have time.
Yes.
I would think, and like in those moments of like passing, like say like this particular instance going outside to do this photo, I hear this in passing and I'm like, hey,
you hear what in passing?
Like we're going outside for this, you know, and I kind of like knew, I'm like, okay, you're not wrong. Like this is out of place, right?
Yeah.
But like the light's good. We're photographers. The light's good.
Yeah.
So and then adapt and take the photo and then be like, okay, girls, now that we got that, let's run inside and get on the bed and do like a really cutesy photo. So that way you're solving that bridesmaid's perceived problem.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of her, like, because they're backhanded, she's not saying this directly.
Right.
But she's like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. Like, they are awesome. And really, she gave you what to do.
Yes.
And you don't have to, like, this doesn't apply all the time, right? And like, those annoying situations where they're like,
Yeah.
but like, it's really pretty in front of the lake. And you're like, do you realize how ugly that photo is going to be? Because it's not sunset.
Yeah, no. Every time.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Another thing bridesmaids talk about is how they don't like the way they look in photos. So give them variety.
Yep.
Any way you can. Send them more photos of themselves.
How did that happen?
How did that happen?
How did we hear that?
I was on a consult call with a bride. She was inquiring.
Uh-huh.
And she was she said a lot of the points that we're going to talk about today, but she was like, my sister was in a wedding and she just did not like any of the photos that were taken of her.
And she was a bridesmaid?
Yep. And it was mostly the singles, which are the bridesmaid with the bride, just two people.
Yeah.
And so now we try to give variety there. We do like full dress. We zoom in. We get a portrait. We get a vertical. We get a landscape. We look at each other. They do something cute really quick. It takes me 8 seconds, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Tops to do all that.
It's so
because
easy.
I use a 24 to 70 2.8 lens.
Yeah.
There's your lens tip for this.
Like
24 to 70.
Especially wedding party. Like throw that sucker on and it'll just like, you'll fly.
Yes.
Versus like having to like run. Like when I do it, because Ashley and I are sharing Canon stuff. We're kind of in like this weird process of switching.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley has the 24 to 70 and I have a 24 to 70 on a different camera, but I want more consistency. So I use the Canon. So all I have is a 50 at the moment.
And it's
so
dreadful.
I'm like running up forward and running backwards and running forward. And it just takes so much more time.
Yeah, it does.
So just like go fast, have a really good time with them, give them variety because those girlies, they are talkers and they will tell their friends. And also that's really great. Not publicity. It's like great referral. It's great free marketing.
Yes.
To give them a single because then they post it.
Yes.
And
if you're going to please anybody on a wedding day, make it be the damn bridesmaids.
And
because they are the loudest.
And the dad.
And moms and dads, yeah. They don't
but
just
I see
run
what
to
you
their
mean.
neighbors and say like, oh my gosh, they were horrendous.
Yeah.
But it's true. And another thing about bridesmaids I was going to mention was in group photos, there's a really cool photography trick. I call it the photo booth. And literally I just yell click and they just turn their head slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. And so it really does help. Another one is, have you ever been on a windy day shooting the bridesmaids and their hair is going crazy, but sometimes there's a break in the wind? I just tell them whenever there's a break in the wind, you look directly at me. I'll kind of be like, hey. Or when it's super duper windy, a big gust rolls in. That's when y'all laugh at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're rolling with this, guys.
Yes.
The wind is not going away.
We're gonna work with the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of like getting flustered and making it miserable for them.
Yep.
Making sure the bridesmaids have a really good time, I think, is a really good tip because they are obviously the ones that we get so many of these little nuggets from.
Yeah.
Because
they're
they
getting
complain
married too.
Yeah. Like how many times do we do weddings? And I'm like, I've done 27, not really quite 27, but like when there's like 7 of your brides there, it's amazing. It's a really good feeling because then you're like, I know that they actually liked me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so it's just make sure everybody has a good time. And that's and likes pictures of themselves.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a really good point though.
Yeah. We can talk about groomsmen now that we're on wedding party.
Okay. Go for it.
The comfort zone that we were trying to tell you to jump out of is the one place that I just hate going is the groomsmen's hotel room.
Oh, I know.
Like the getting ready for
you
the
are
groom.
so unwelcome in that. Like,
yeah.
Not like legit, but like
right.
Guys don't like photographers.
No.
So whenever it's time for you to arrive, they're like, great.
We have to put our beers down. Actually, no, you don't. But yeah, it can be really scary sometimes as a little
especially oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. I mean, they're just not here's what's going on. Guys grow up with their moms telling them to smile. Mm-hmm. Photos are not a fun time for dudes.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe like with the upcoming generation, Gen Z, like guys are probably going to be a little bit better about camera and photos than previous generations. However, guys just as a whole don't like to be in front of the camera. It's awkward. And it's like boring. There's so many better things that they could do. And like, how can you make sure that they have a really good time? So the regret is like there weren't any like getting ready photos or something.
Of the guys.
Yeah. And it's very easy to get getting ready photos of the guys because you just want them to feel like you're on their team.
Yes.
That's like the number one thing when I walk in and I like mentally am prepping myself for these dudes. I'm walking in and I'm like, okay, Ashley, you're a bro.
Yep. What's up, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
And if they're cussing,
I'm
I'm cussing.
cussing.
Like we are friends.
Yep. You do. Yeah. You do. You have a good time.
Yep.
You laugh at their fucking jokes.
Stupid jokes.
Ugh.
Not always stupid though.
Not
Some
always.
groomsmen are super funny.
Oh yeah.
Super funny. But when they're making jokes, like you also joke back with them. Shoot shit with them.
Yeah.
Have a good time. Like
Oh yeah.
I
And
feel
be quick.
like
just
I was
wanna
gonna say
jump
like,
to that point.
the girls,
Yep.
I feel like it's so much like staging and posing and like
And they
come over
like it.
here and like and they like want you to feel taken care of. Like
Yep.
they want to feel like you care about where their hair is.
Yes.
Like that is a beautiful thing when you set the girls up for a getting ready photo on the bed.
Yeah.
And there's this random bridesmaid and you're like, oh, also ask for permission before you touch people, literally. But you look at her and you're like, oh, your hair's out of place. Can I fix it? And she's going to be like, yes, thank you for
Yeah.
paying attention and caring about me. And then
Yep.
the whole group of girls is like, well, if she didn't call me out, my hair must look great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, guys are the opposite.
Totally.
Unless like it's the groom and whatever. But
They just want to feel cool, look cool.
yeah. And during the morning, just go in there. I like to be there earlier than I need to be so that I'm not there and it's all business.
Mhm.
I want to get there with enough time for them to warm up to me so we can like shoot the shit, have a good time. I'm
Yeah.
not really photographing very much. Like I am. I'm like back in the corner, but I'm not telling them to do very much. It's more of like my presence and them getting comfortable with my presence
Yeah.
before moving them into like, we're going to actually get you ready.
Yeah. And I was going to say before all of that, telling the guy what your like in mission is. Like tell them what you're doing there.
Yes.
You know, like
not just like walking in like a little sloot. Oh,
right.
wait, that's
Don't
not the
be
word I
shy.
wanted,
Like get in there, be assertive, be like, hey, I'm here just to take a few photos. You guys just be cool, be yourselves. I'll tell you guys when I need you over by a window.
but exactly.
It's so easy.
Question. What's a sleuth?
I don't know. Did I say it? Or
I
did
was
you?
about to say it, but then I
sleuth?
realized like don't walk in there like a sleuth. I mean, I don't know that was what I mean. I mean like don't walk in there to be a fly on the wall right away without saying, but I feel like
you're not going to get any content you're going to like there.
Yeah. And they're not going to be comfortable because they're like, what is she doing? And what does she expect of me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, just hang out for, 10 minutes or so. I'll probably have you guys start getting ready in like 15, but I'm just going to kind of like be lurking around. Lurking, that's kind of the word I wanted. So yeah, just it takes that barrier down. And they're like, okay. But then the groom is generally still like hyper aware of you.
Yes.
Because it's his wedding day and he's like, am I supposed? Or like the worst thing is when you walk in an hour early before they're supposed to be ready and they're like completely ready and I'm like, crap.
That does happen.
That's my that's what I'm supposed to shoot. But
it's because the woman's like, hey, you need to be ready at this time, which was way earlier than
yes,
what we said.
And I'm like, oh, you guys look amazing. Just hang out. And then I'm like, cool, they're ready. All right, we're gonna burn 20 minutes instead of 10.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna have them pop those jackets off.
Yes. Guys like things to be done quick and efficiently.
Yep. They don't want their time to be wasted.
Correct.
So
they forget that they're taking photos that day. Like they just show up to weddings thinking it's about to be a party and that's it. And then their world is wrecked when it's like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, they're like, another picture?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, those are the worst groomsmen.
They really are.
Another photo. And I'm like, homie, it will be, oh God, bribe them, by the way.
Yes.
We should have a whole episode
about
on like
groomsmen
getting
pleasing.
groomsmen on your side.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
write that down.
Bribery.
Yep.
Anyways.
Yeah.
What else?
What is another one? Sorry, my screen.
I'm thinking of one. One was coming to mind that she was a family member of the bride and also in the photography world. And her friend who was getting married hired an inexpensive new photographer, which is generally, not always, but in a lot of these situations, I would imagine this is where a lot of the little hiccups come because you just live and learn. But this was a kind of new photographer, freaking gorgeous Instagram feed. There's the burp. Okay. Guys, I have a burping issue. If you didn't catch the introduction episode, I can't burp, so it's weird when it happens. Okay, anyways. Where was I? Newer photographer, beautiful Instagram feed. And by beautiful, I mean freaking beautiful. It's one of the Instagram feeds that I feel like Ashley Kay would look at and she would say, "Oh my gosh, why aren't my photos looking like that?"
Yeah, super jealous.
Like very creative and how it is, like when you're new and you're just so inspired and creative all the time.
yes.
So Ashley would look at them and she's like, "Oh my God, it's so pretty." Well, then we hear she sat down the whole reception. I was like, am I giving too much away? She sat down the whole reception. The photos were in like really speckly light. Like overall, there was no guidance or like keeping things on time, being assertive, being like, "Hey guys," like leading people up. Say you want to do family photos like now, but everybody's kind of mingling and maybe you're not the super assertive type. I feel like a good hack to this is approaching the whole family members. Are you tracking what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know if I was flying around too much.
No.
But a good little hack to getting people to where you want to go to stay on time is to tell that whole group of people that you're intimidated to be like, "Come to me now." Say, "Hey guys, in 5 minutes, we're going to do family photos."
Yeah.
And that way you're not being super bossy and you're giving them a little bit of an expectation and you're like, "Okay, we're going to fly through this real quick."
Yes.
It can be a lot easier than being super demanding. Little hack.
Yeah, because there is a too assertive
Yeah.
thing.
Like you're being too bossy.
yeah.
Or like, and definitely smile while you do it.
Yeah, I don't know which one is worse. I do hear more complaints about people not being assertive enough, though.
Yes, me too.
Surprisingly.
So many complaints about
Yeah.
not being assertive enough. Like just tell that they want to be told what to do.
Yeah. And if you just think about the fact that people can hear you smiling, like people can hear you smiling through the phone.
Yeah.
Think about that on the wedding day when you're talking to family members.
Yes.
Because you can be snooty so quick on accident.
Oh my gosh. Especially that person who's asked for 27 photos during family photos. And
Yeah.
you're like, "We have a list."
Yeah, like I get overwhelmed, but I'm not going to show it.
Now it's like, "We'll get there. I have it on there. We'll get there." Raise your
Service
pitch just
energy.
a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. But anyways, this whole point to her was she wasn't assertive. She was kind of lazy and sitting down and partying during the reception. By the way, I remember this story now. I feel like you were talking to me about it yesterday. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now I know. She was like partying the whole reception instead of shooting. Similarly, there was another time with a different photographer who was also sitting down during the reception and shooting the reception from their chair. It's just like, it just gives this like laziness. Yeah. People are looking at you and people are watching. People are always watching. And it gives them a perception of how good you are. And like, sure, your photos might end up surprising them, but it's going to be tainted by this like way that you made them feel.
Absolutely.
And they're also already thinking like they're missing this. Like I remember during my reception, love Chris, he photographed my reception, but I just remember a couple scenarios. And so I know that if this is a thought I have, I just remember a couple scenarios being like, is he photographing this?
Uh-huh.
And he was,
Yeah.
right? But my brain, they like, the bride looks for them.
Yes.
And then if you're not there, I hope she finds you doing something else. And that's why you're not there.
Yeah.
You know? So these are just like thoughts that they're having.
Always. Yep. Good point, Ashley. Wrong thing. I was thinking my phone.
Like what other, we jotted down.
Oh,
all
okay.
Of these things we've heard.
Okay, let me start over.
Okay.
One thing I hear all the time when I'm having a consult call with a potential bride
I love this.
is that they had worked with other photographers because they were in a wedding party or they were a bridesmaid or they were a family member or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so they've worked with other photographers at weddings.
Of course.
And they have said that photographers take way too damn long
Oh, wait, that's a good one.
for wedding party photos. Photos that really don't matter.
You know what? They
What?
don't.
They don't. They don't. They don't. They don't.
Like they don't need 27 million poses with their bridesmaids.
Or, yeah.
Or 27 million photos with the whole group.
Or 27 million locations.
Oh my God.
That's the real
that's
kicker.
a really big one that I've heard quite a few times
Yeah.
actually, is like we went to And whether it's driving or just like walking,
Yeah.
right? Walking to different locations with like the same group of people is not only time consuming, but a lot of times the weather is not cooperating. If you're doing this after the ceremony, people are waiting.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel like we overshoot in that way as photographers because we want to ensure that they're going to have good photos.
Yep.
Right? And so it's almost like a fail safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that didn't work out, at least this will. I feel like the only time that we do this at this stage is if we tried something and the light is horrendous.
Yes. We're like, oh, we have to pivot.
Yeah, it's like, and then there's not very much to fix. Like figure out that the light is horrendous early.
Yes.
And be like, guys, this light's just not working out. Let's go right there.
Yes.
And it'll save a lot of time.
Yes.
Versus like, you might be afraid that you're going to look like an idiot if you're like, let's move.
Yeah.
You're not. They're going to be thankful because they don't want to be out there for an extra 15 minutes for you to redo all those photos.
Correct.
Other point. If you put yourself in a bride's shoes or a groom's shoes, how many photos do you actually want with your friends? Like posed group photos. Like how many? How many do you actually want? Like if you had a set of bridesmaids, how many photos?
I would say 10.
I was going to say 6.
Yeah, I was going to say 8 at first.
Okay. So we're between this like 6 and 10.
Yeah.
So we want between 6 and 10 photos with them, which would be how many poses? Like maybe 10 poses?
Yeah.
And you can move through these 10 poses very fast.
Very fast.
Like super fast.
Yeah.
And by 10 photos, we might not be delivering 10 photos. We might be delivering like 40
Yeah.
photos.
So we have different compositions.
Yeah. Horizontal, vertical,
points.
zoomed in, whatever.
Yep.
But you can go through a flow and get all 10 of those photos done in 10 minutes.
Yep. Max.
Like you don't need 30 minutes.
No, my party trick is getting the whole group wedding party done in
4.5
yes,
minutes.
I got it at 4:15 one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I set a timer and everything. I'm like, guys, seriously. And what were you going to say?
That they feel like they're on your team.
Yes.
Like that you guys are working together for this goal.
Totally.
And they're on board.
They are so on board. And we've even had wedding party be like, oh my gosh, it's over. Like the dudes.
Yeah, like that was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about momentum and never killing that momentum. Because once you do, they're done.
Wait, that's a really good point too that I've heard.
What?
That people like all the pausing
Yes.
in between things.
Yes. They hate it.
Yes.
And I see it all the time when I'm a second shooter.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just like,
just do it.
Don't pause. Just go.
Just
go.
Don't,
memorize it and go.
Yes. We have a formula. We'll talk about it in another episode. And it's really great.
I think actually, isn't that one of the episodes that we're going to do?
Really coming up
Yeah.
soon? I hope so. It's a good one.
Yeah, we will.
It's like
we'll do
actually my really big juice.
Yeah, that is like your huge party trick. Everybody's
Yeah.
going to walk around and like all wedding party photos are going to be the same, but it's fine. Energy's fine. Everybody's happy.
Yes. And also I feel like the bride and groom are aware of how their friends are feeling during photos. And if you're making everybody just feel like, when is
like
this
it's a
going to be
drag,
over?
and they should never be standing around.
No.
You know what I mean? Like just standing
Never.
and waiting.
Right.
The only time they stand and wait is while you're picking a location.
Yep.
And also, you should not be doing that for very long because the clock is ticking and you're going to lose them.
Yeah.
They are like little dodo birds that are just.
Yeah. A good tip is to find out where your location is going to be a few days in advance at the time of when you're shooting.
Yes.
So if you're shooting wedding party at 3 p.m., go scout at 3 p.m.
And if you don't have that luxury, figure it out in the morning and use the Sunseeker app on your phone to guess.
Yeah, because we don't want to show up overwhelmed.
Yeah, because that's a lot of decisions to make the day of, which is another random tip. So many little nuggets. I'm like, are we even going to have additional episodes to do after
Nope, this is it. This is a wrap. No more.
But like when you're doing a timeline call,
yeah,
which we can have a whole episode on timeline calls because those are so valuable.
Yeah.
Like I used to think before we've made them really valuable that they were just such a waste of time. Like, I'm like, what are we sitting on here talking about? Like, we're just going over this timeline, blah, blah, blah. But like now they're so, so, so valuable. So one of my favorite things to do on them is pick locations with them. Mm-hmm. Kind of. So the day of, it's pretty much figured out for us, for not only them, but also for me. And maybe like I might ask, do you have any, like, do you want to do your wedding party somewhere? Or do you just want me to pick based on the light? Almost all the time they tell me to pick based on the light.
On that same note, too, you can ask them if they want city or nature, and that really cancels out a few locations.
Yes, especially if you're, moving between venues.
Yep.
The other thing that I ask is, like, at the venue, say they're doing like a first look with dad. And I'm like, is there somewhere that you pictured this happening?
Yes.
Like, maybe I want to do it on light, right? But she's like, I think it might be really cool to do on the balcony. And I'm
Yes.
like, okay, we can totally do the balcony as long as the weather is good and the light is good.
Yeah.
If it's not great, do you care if we do somewhere where the light's better? And she's like, no. And then I'll give him my like little pitch. Like, I kind of like to do them with dads where you get ready or somewhere very close so we don't make dads feel weird by like posing dads, you know,
right.
random little things.
And I just want to remind the people listening that this is before the wedding day. You probably kind of said it, but like for real, don't ask these questions on the wedding day. Don't even ask
for
anything
real,
on the wedding day.
which is why we figure it out at the timeline call,
Yep.
ideally. Because yes, don't ask them to make a single decision that day.
Yep.
None.
Yes.
You can ask a preference, but if you're like, don't be like, where do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Give them options if you
Yes.
do need to ask them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's raining where we were originally planning on going. We obviously can't go. So we can either do inside right here or we can do underneath the awning.
Yep.
Which one do you like better?
Yeah.
Versus them having to come up with something.
Exactly.
But anyways, locations, decisions. I'm like, again, this is the ADD brain. Why were we talking about that?
Talking about what?
Where did that point come from?
Decisions?
Decisions?
That's the wedding party taking way too long for a wedding party.
Oh, yes. There you go.
We did want to mention like an hour and 15 minutes for wedding party and bride and groom is the absolute max.
Like after the ceremony.
Our opinion.
Pre-reception. Unless there's like circumstances like Catholic Gap or something. But
yes,
never take more than an hour and 15 minutes. Always plan for 1 hour.
Yep. That's bridesmaids photos, groomsmen photos,
wedding
full
party
wedding party,
photos, and bride and groom. Yes.
Yeah. What we like to do is break up our bride and groom to different parts of the day.
Yeah.
3 or 4 different parts of the day.
Yep.
So you're not squeezing it all in that hour.
Yeah, because they also get really bored too.
Yeah,
if like the bride and groom photos last too long. Like,
yeah.
They're like, okay, like and then your brain's also kind of tired at this point. So if you break it up throughout the day, it makes it a lot more fun for them, a lot more high energy for them, that kind of thing. And they could just be quick little 5 to 10 minute portions.
Yep. Another comfort.
Ashley looks at her phone. she's trying to figure out our notes.
Do you want to talk about the dress one?
Yes. So let's just talk about the bride and the groom, not the bride and the groom, the bride's appearance in general. So this is a big comfort zone one in the sense of you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone of making sure you have the photo you want. That's what makes you comfortable, getting the photo you want. But taking her feelings into consideration is more important.
Yes.
Right? So something that I have heard is brides feeling like their wants, anxieties, desires aren't taken into consideration by the photographer so that the photographer can get the shot.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the photographer really wants to go to this spot, but it's mud the whole way. The whole way. And it just is making her nervous. And sure, maybe you have it all figured out. Maybe you know how you're not going to get that muddy. But she's worried about it.
Uh-huh.
And if she is worried about it, give her the option. Like, hey, we can go over there. We can carry your dress. You can stand still if you really want to get that. Or let's just stay here on the pavement where it's dry and you don't have to worry about your dress. Do you have a preference? Like, do you really want that location? Or do you want to just do this for your comfort? Let her pick. Mm-hmm. And if she doesn't want her dress dirty, like, even though there's the trend about like getting your dress dirty, like you only wear it once, maybe she's the type that really doesn't want it to get dirty. Yeah. Like, don't push her and make her feel like you care about it. A lot of the times in like these scenarios, when it comes to the way she looks, look at the maid of honor and be like, honey, girlfriend, your job, just pick that dress up for her today.
Yeah.
So that it just doesn't drag. And that new material, I don't know if it's crepe or satin, that like dust magnet.
Oh my gosh.
Like that's where it's like,
it is beautiful though.
It is. But you look at that concrete floor and you're like, I know there's dust particles that they thought they got, but this dress is going to say, no, you didn't.
No, it's like its fibers just reach out.
They do, like little spindles of fingers. That are just like, let me have that dust.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But so care a lot about what she cares about. Let her know that you're taking her feelings into consideration because she is going to remember that dress got filthy because you wanted to do something that made her uncomfortable.
That's so sad.
Same thing, like we've also heard a horror story about a bride who, this is all under the same vein, she was really kind of stressed out about her hair and her veil was in and she didn't want to be messed with.
Mm-hmm.
And the photographer was adamant about this veil shot. And the bride is like, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, it was the veil shot that she was talking about is like where the veil goes over both of them. Which, no.
She didn't want it
right.
at all.
Right.
At all. And she explicitly said, I don't want that. And the photographer's like, no, it's going to be fine. Picks it up, proceeds to do it. And that is so many violations of like personal boundaries, let alone like the way she views her photos are 100% impacted by that moment, the whole day. And she's like, she made me feel like this. Like she overstepped my boundary. She also picked my veil up without asking, which is don't touch without asking. It just people's comfort zones are very important.
Yes.
And like don't trample all over them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not one photo that's better than how comfortable somebody is.
Never.
It's
and
not worth it.
You might miss, I feel like a lot of people's like reason to overshoot is
confidence.
Yeah, like being afraid they're not going to deliver enough.
Yeah.
Right? And I get it.
I do too.
Like yeah.
I still overshoot. I'm just quick.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
You are very quick. It's trying to get yourself into a posing flow without those gaps in between the day or in between like the poses and just like talk through it and guide through it that can keep the momentum up for them and keep them from like second guessing themselves, keep them from second guessing their appearance, keep them having fun, having a good time with you, then getting the variety that you desire.
Yep.
Without having to extend an extra 15 minutes.
Yes. Check on them. Are they hydrated? Are they fed? Do they feel okay?
Yeah. Just give a crap about them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any other big ones that we really wanted to hit on.
Not really.
It all just goes down to this is not stuff that we
learn from experience. We learned it from
other people effing up.
Yes.
And then us hearing about their F ups.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, got it.
Yes.
Roger.
Yep.
Won't be doing that.
Nope. The art of eavesdropping.
The art of eavesdropping, dude. Freaking eavesdrop. Those bridesmaids are going to be your best friends when it comes to doing better than your competition.
Yep. Listen up, y'all.
Yeah. And they're going to tell all their friends because they had a bad experience and you kicked ass. And they're going to tell all their friends they are awesome.
Yep.
They are so good. You need to hire that person.
They paid attention.
Yeah. So that's our nugget. And hopefully you have a bunch of little baby tidbit pieces of advice through this. Maybe there's a little tough love. Maybe you're sitting here thinking, oh crap, I did that.
Yeah. Or I do that.
Same though.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the beginning, talking about the party bus. Like we weren't always on the party bus.
Mm-mm.
But it's hearing these stories from other people that make us learn and make us better.
Yep.
So a little tough love, shift a little bit, think about them, and do better.
Put them first.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love that too.
Have a good day.
I'm like, is that how we're signing out? We don't know how we're signing out. This is like the very first one.
Tell them to have a good damn day.
Have a good damn day. Have a good damn day. Kill it this week. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, 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 bye.